Life can change in an instant. For many wheelchair users, the struggle to push forward is a daily challenge.
After years of development and countless prototypes, we created Rib Grips, the revolutionary wheelchair hand rim covers with built-in ribs for ultimate grip and comfort.
No more slick surfaces, no more heat burns, just pure, reliable grip. Rib Grips, empowering you to push forward with ease. Rib Grips, get a grip on your freedom. Discover the difference. Visit ribgrips.com and use promo code GRIP today. You just found the perfect product that helps with staying cool during hot summer runs. No more gross warm water. Stay cool with this product from Gear Handle. This hydration tube cover helps keep your water cool and easily accessible. Stay hydrated during those long summer runs or even delay from freezing in the winter. Plus, they're compatible with various brands of water bladders and come in various colors. Visit gearhandle.com and use promo code H2O today.
Hey everyone, you're listening to The Public Affair with me, Andrew G. I see someone different every episode, but do me a favor, keep it between us. Hey guys, what's going on? It's your boy Andrew G, and welcome to this really exciting episode of The Public Affair. I'm really excited to do this episode. I've been dying to get this guest onto the show, and we've had scheduling conflicts. My battery died today. Shout out to Jeffrey Monreal for coming to juice it up for me. I really appreciate it. And to O'Reilly's Auto Parts for making my battery work again. But it had to die on the day that it's 100 degrees. Not tomorrow when it's 87. But anyway, that's besides the point. So before we get started, I want to use this opportunity to thank you guys again so much for all your love and support of The Public Affair. I really appreciate it. And of course, to Mike Hamilton and Allison Robles over there making my episodes look all cute and snackish. Thank you guys so much for all your hard work with Rogue Media Network. And of course, I want to start the episode off by giving a shout out to a few of our sponsors of The Public Affair. Of course, this episode is brought to you by Four Brothers Construction with my boy Joe Olvera. He provides custom home designs and renovations. He also focuses on roofing, remodeling, renovations, plumbing, tree removal, electrical work, and so much more. So if you need any of that jobs done, make sure you call one of his snacks on the number on the screen to get all that stuff taken care of. Joe is a longtime sponsor of The Public Affair, and I can't express my gratitude enough. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. Of course, to BNJ Refinishing with my boy Frank Biza. He focuses on resurfacing bathtubs, counters, sinks, tiles, and more to original showroom quality, offers 5-year warranty on most work, and has the best prices in town. And of course, he doesn't stop there because like I've said in almost every episode of The Public Affair, he's an entrepreneur also with CoTown Tint, which is a mobile tint and detailing business that offers the best high quality film and products and will be all competitor prices. Frank is a true hustler. I'm so glad to have him as a sponsor of The Public Affair, a longtime sponsor. Thank you so much for everything you do, Frank. I truly appreciate it. Of course, to David Santabanez, the #1 sales agent at Alinea Real Estate. He'll help you buy a home or sell your home. Make sure you follow him on Facebook at David with Alinea or call the number on the screen, darling, for all your real estate needs. We were just going to have a meeting to talk about my dream chateau coming on up, and I don't want to work with no other realtor except David Santabanez. I love him. He's the GOAT. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Of course, to Elevate with Caitlin Flores, Waco's newest premier shop selling nothing but the best. Elevate is proud to bring you all of one-of-a-kind attire and the most exotic merchandise on the market. They guarantee all gas and no breaks. I just got me some exotic snacks over the weekend, and I got Silly Buns, his little CBD pen thingy that they got, and I love them so much. Caitlin is a queen, and I love having her as a sponsor of The Public Affair. Thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. And of course, to Elite Barbershop with my boy Sid Rodriguez, located on Hewitt Drive. You can download the Cut app or call the number on the screen to book. He also has Marcus Guerrero, Chris Reyes, Santos Cordova, and D-Rod, aka David Rodriguez, over there making you look like a whole snack. I love all those barbers. All of them have got to put hands on my head, and they are the best. I love, love, love them. And I don't want to go on without thanking my boy Jeffrey Monreal with Boyo Box and Audio. He focuses on installation of stereos, door speakers, and audio systems. He also specializes in building custom subwoofer enclosures and much more. Definitely a jack of all trades. And like I said, right before this episode began recording, my car battery died, and he came and juiced me, so I owe you lunch and dinner. Jeffrey Monreal, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair with Boyo Box and Audio. More to come later. All right, guys. So like I said, I've been really excited to shoot this episode of The Public Affair. I kind of told some of my close friends that I had this next guest, and they're like, no way, what are you going to talk to her about? I was like, I just hope she's not a prude because I really want to make it really funny. But so far, she's been very, very sweet, and she's one of the kindest people that I've ever met. I didn't know exactly what to call her, so we're going to go with this. I'd like to welcome Waco Chief of Police, Dr. Sheryl Victorian, to The Public Affair. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
That was good, right? That was good? Okay,
that was good. Got it all in.
She said I could call her whatever her one as long as it wasn't out of her name. So I said, okay, yeah, we're going to do that. So,
that works.
Sheryl.
Sheryl
is that good? Okay,
absolutely.
Yeah. You don't look a day over 21, so you know.
Well, thank you. Points for Andrew.
Yeah, okay, please do, yes. So that way when I get stopped. Please excuse my appearance. It's been quite a afternoon, if you will. And of course, it's 100 degrees outside. But again, everything's good. And we're going to do this. So first of all, I want to thank you for coming on to the Public Affair. Like I said, I like to diversify my cast and everything. And I was like, well, if I'm going to get a police officer, why not go for the big guns and get the chief of police? You know what I mean? So how do you feel about being here?
Oh, absolutely. I love it. I love the opportunity to be able to talk and talk about what I do.
Okay, good.
It's great. I'm
excited. I pictured you more shy in person, and I pictured you more like just like, you're chief of police. You have an image to uphold. You know what I mean? So I was like, I don't know. She might be a little, you know what I mean? But you're quite the opposite, I assume. Yeah. I ran into you at a Dunkin' Donuts in Hewitt one morning. I didn't run into you. I saw you, but I didn't want to bother you because you looked like you were with a parade of people. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't want to kind of interrupt and be like, hey, it's me. I'm the guy who's been messaging you, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that would have been okay to do that, right?
Yeah, it would have been fine. I saw you in HEB.
Yeah, you did see me at HEB, that's right. And you were you weren't in the getup, though. You looked very just, right. We should have got the shoe cam for you that day. Yeah, you are, yeah. Do people treat you different because of your position?
I don't. Well, you know what? Since I've been in the city of Waco as the chief, I probably. Yeah,
like, do they act like uptight with you or
no? Everybody has been so friendly and down to earth and receptive. Yeah. And I think I'm getting what I give off.
Okay, yeah, for sure. And so is this your first time in Waco? Like, because you're from Houston, correct?
I am from Houston.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So you just moved here.
I was in Houston for 28 years, had no intentions of ever leaving Houston, applied for this job, and here I am.
And here you are. Okay, I got you. Well, before we get started, I did see that you had a loss that I kind of just want to express my condolences to you for. It was one of your brothers in blue, is that correct? And you lost him, so if you want to pay him a tribute real quick, we can move on. It's your choice. Or
I got a phone call this morning that Houston PD lost a police officer in a division that I worked a very long time in. He didn't get there until after I got there, but Officer Bill Jeffrey lost his life in the line of duty, and we also had Sergeant Mark Vance, who was seriously injured and is still with us, fortunately. But such a tragedy in Houston.
Well, and not to put a damper, but I really just, I'm really sorry for your loss. I was nervous about how you were gonna move on, but we'll get into that later because that's definitely a subject I want to talk to you about. But for anybody who might not know who you are, like Andrew, who is this? Can you introduce yourself to us?
Sure. My name is Sheryl Victorian. I am a native Houstonian. I have been in Houston all of my life. I was a police officer in the city of Houston for 28 years. I retired as an assistant chief with the Houston Police Department to take this job as the chief of police for the city of Waco. Worked in a lot of divisions while I was in the city of Houston, but my favorite was working undercover for 11 years in major offenders. Okay. And worked my way up through the ranks of the police department and retired as an assistant chief, and here I am.
And now
chief.
Here you are. Okay. Yes, so you were retiring. When you got done when you were going to retire, did you have any intentions of like coming back? Like, what made you? What was the decision?
Oh no, I was retiring to come here.
Oh, to come here.
Yes, had I not got this job, I would have still been in the city of Houston.
Okay, girl, I'm thinking about like the beach, retired. You know what I mean? Like,
you're ready to give it up.
I'm only 30 and I'm ready to retire. I can't. Okay, I'm done here. I can't wait to live in the beach. Yeah, that's
just the official term. It's retire. I had to retire from the city of Houston to become the chief.
Technically, it's like quitting, but you guys call it retiring. Okay,
but I call it retiring because I am ratired because I did my time there and able to
now you're here.
Retirement benefits.
Cool. Hey,
so it's retirement.
That's what's up. Okay. Why Waco? Like, I mean, were you looking for change or?
So no, absolutely not. I'd only visited Waco one time before this position even came up. So I came here in 2019 for Texas Police Chiefs Association Women Leadership Meeting. We were just starting a meeting to get more women in law enforcement and more women to promote. Okay. And so I came here. I was in a meeting. My sisters were very close. They got to see the city, and as soon as we were done, we headed back to Houston. Okay. And so that was my only time here in 2019.
I got you.
And then I got a phone call in October of 2020 that the police chief's job was open here, and it was from one of our former presidents of our union, and police union. Okay. And he's like, hey, I just got a phone call. They told me, from the city of Waco, they're looking for a police chief. Yeah. Everything they described sound like you. Not trying to get rid of you, but it sounded like you. Okay. Are you even looking? And I was like, no, I'm good. He's like, are you looking to leave Houston? I was like, no, I think, even when I began looking for a chief job, there's so many chief jobs around here. I'm not leaving Houston. Okay. So he was like, well, I'm telling you, it sounded like you. It's up to you. I did what I said I was going to do. The rest is up to you. So I was like, well, I'm flattered. Thank you so much.
How does the chief of police job sound like you? Like, what does that even mean?
Well, I think based on the things that I was already doing in the community, they were looking for somebody who was community focused.
Oh, okay.
Focusing on diversity, focusing on inclusion, focusing on, professional development of police officers. Yes. Yeah. And so some of the things, they had an actual brochure of characteristics that they were looking for in a police chief. And so he was saying, hey, when he was telling me about these, it sounded like what you're already doing. Okay. And sure enough, after I hung up the phone, I was like, oh, that was sweet for him to even think that I could be a chief.
It's like, I guess we gotta go now.
Right? No, actually, I was just like, I'm not going to Waco. Oh, really? Right? I'm like, I'm staying in Houston. Yeah. And then for about 2 hours, it just nagged me. And I was like, okay, just go look. Right. So I went out and looked at the profile, and sure enough, every bullet point, I was like, I can do that. Oh, that's what I'm doing. Right. I can do that. Yeah. So I went home and convinced my sisters that, that I was going to apply for this job, and applied for it, and several months later, here I am.
Were one of the bullets like, I could beat that guy's ass, like it ain't nothing. I can take him.
Had you asked me that 26, 27 years ago, that's all I wanted to do.
Really?
Most people, when you ask them why they want to be a police officer, because they want to help people. I wanted to put the bad guy in jail.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Had to go to jail.
Ooh, it's gonna get juicy, because that's like pre-opening doors for me, because I've got so many questions when it comes to stuff like that. But I want to talk to you a little bit about your life growing up. So you are from Houston. How would you say like your family dynamic was and everything, or for you?
So I grew up in Sunnyside. If you look at Sunnyside right now in Houston, for the past several years, it's been on the top 10 list for one of the most dangerous neighborhoods. Oh, really? Right? Okay. But at the time, it wasn't. At least we didn't know. We didn't have Google back then.
Maybe not.
And we felt comfortable playing in the streets and having a good time. And we were not poor, but we didn't have a whole lot of money. We had food, we had clean clothes.
Yeah, what you needed.
Yes, we had what we needed. We didn't have an overabundance. We just had what we needed. Right. And I have 2 older sisters and a younger brother, and I had both my parents, right? And so my dad had his own business. He installed Formica, if there is even such a thing anymore.
I was like, what is that?
Countertops.
Countertops. Okay.
But it's old, right? They don't do it anymore. That was back in 1970 something. So anyway, he had his own business, and I went to Houston Independent School District schools, and never wanted to be a police officer.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Afraid of police officers,
really?
Right? There was not a corner grocery store. It was a grocery store in my neighborhood where there was a constable who used to work there, and my mom would take me there to try to shake this man's hand when we were going in, and I would literally fall out and embarrass her.
Why is
crying.
That?
I don't know. We didn't have any negative interactions. My family had never had any negative interactions with the police. My parents never talked negatively about the police. I don't know why I was afraid of them at that time. But I tell you what, a couple of years later, as I was a little older, I had a neighbor across the street, mischievous kid. Our street was a T intersection, right? And the Houston Police Department's helicopter would fly. The flight path was right over my mom's house. Oh, okay. And so we had gone out of town one weekend, and we got back. He came over and he was like, "Hey, the helicopter landed on the street, and they were looking for you." And I was like, "For me?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "What?" He said, "Yep." He said, "Well, does Sheryl live around here?" And I was like, "Shit, they call my name?" And he said, "Yeah." He said, and they said, "Is she a Taurus?" No. And I was like, what?
Why are they doing you like that?
Right. Oh, but at the time, I didn't know the police officer didn't ask your sign, right? So I just thought that was like, man, cops knew something about me. And it was believable because the T intersection was big enough for a helicopter to land. Right. So what's funny is that every time that helicopter would pass over my mom's house, if my friends and I were outside playing, we would hide. We'd hide in front of bushes, in front of cars, whatever, because the helicopter was looking for me, right?
That is so crazy.
And so, So at 9, though, I lost my dad. My dad had a massive heart attack and passed away. Thank you. And so we were going to bury him out of town. And as we were leaving the funeral home, the motorcycle guys were very compassionate, very empathetic to my family, got us over to our car. And as they escorted us out of town, I just focused on those guys and the respect that they were getting and then the job that they had, getting us out of town. And I think my perspective of police started changing.
Okay, you were
and I was like, okay, those are good guys.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then a couple of years later, Miami Vice came out.
Oh,
I was sold.
Because
I wanted to be Ricardo and Tubbs and work undercover. And I was laser focused at that point. Right. And went to college. So that was it. Yep, went to college. As soon as I got out, joined the Houston Police Department. So about your education, because now you're Dr. Sheryl Victorian, correct? So what, I mean, because I think to be a police officer, it doesn't require that much college. Is that correct? Does not.
It does. Okay, so why go all the way for the PhD? Was that just for personal gain?
It was a combination of reasons, right? So I was always told before I became a police officer, that I need to go ahead and finish my degree. Because if you come in with a degree, it's an incentive. You get extra incentive pay, right? Yeah. So if you came in and you hadn't started your degree, then you'd be trying to work full time and finish your degree. Right. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to finish my degree. I'm still young. And, graduated from college at 22, started in the police department at, 22. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to, this worked. And then I wasn't married, didn't have any kids. A master's program opened up at the University of Houston downtown. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back and get my master's. And I knew that in order to promote with the Houston Police Department, it's very competitive, right? Okay. You have to test, you have to assess, and any degrees that you have, you get extra points at the end of, once all of the scores are combined. Right. So if you have a bachelor's, you get 1 point tacked on. You get a master's, you get 2 points.
You were trying to get all your little points.
I wanted all my points because I'm not a good tester. Yeah. Right? To me, it was like memorization, and I was like, I don't do well at that, right?
I'm not trying to study.
Right. If it was,
and then you live in Houston,
some skills, it's something about skills, and you learn. I could do that.
And you're trying to go to the club too. You're only 20.
I wasn't really going to the club.
Well, you live in Houston. It's not like you get to do that. Yeah. Okay. Beyonce's from there.
Beyonce's from Houston. Yeah. So I got my master's degree in my career because everybody had a bachelor's degree. Right. So we were all on the same level playing field.
And you were like,
so I was like, okay, I got to get one up. So I went on and got my master's degree. And besides, the 100 Club of Houston paid for it. That's
good too. Right? Yeah. Okay.
So then next thing you know, everybody started getting a master's degree. And I said, okay, well, you know what? I need to go and get my PhD. Wow. And I always wanted to teach at the college level anyway. Once I officially retired for real. I just went on and got my PhD, and it proved to be very beneficial after the commander's exam.
I mean,
because I was able to get those 3 points tacked onto my score, and it moved me significantly from where I was.
And that's such a good incentive too to at least keep you in school and get your education. Yes. Like they could take being a cop away from you all day, but you can't take away my PhD. Like that's mine. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I earned
I'm still Dr. Victorian. Yes. You can take your little badge. You good. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I was a chief before. I was an assistant chief, but I will always be a doctor at this point.
Right. Exactly. But your main focus was always to be in law enforcement, regardless. Correct.
It was. Okay. It was. And even when I went to teach, and I teach right now. I teach adjunct at Southern New Hampshire University. My overall objective once I officially retire was to be that professor that had that practical experience and that classroom experience, because my experience in the classroom in undergrad, it wasn't, I had a heart for law enforcement. That's why I stayed.
Yeah, for sure.
Other than that, with the instruction we were getting, I would have been totally changed my major. Because everybody had the academic knowledge or the theoretical knowledge, but no practical experience.
Okay. So you were more like hands-on practical.
I was like, hey, you need to bring some war story. I need somebody in here who can really tell me what policing is about. And that was my goal. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get in the classroom and I'm gonna have some war stories for my students, right? Okay,
can we talk about some of your war stories? Because I think it's so interesting. I always like I don't think I can do law enforcement. Let me just put that out there. I'm so I'm chicken shit. Like I can't fight Dr. Victorian. I can't do none of that. You know what I mean? Like I'm the one that's gonna be in the corner. Like, hey guys, do you need backup? You know. So becoming a police officer, okay? Because you said that you were always passionate about it from a very young age. Like especially once you got over your fear. Can you talk to me a little bit about like your first time, I guess, joining the force and like your first time out in the field and stuff like that?
Yeah. So I went to the academy. The academy is 6 months long. Right? Yeah. The Houston Police Department has its own academy. Had a great time. Class 152, right? We'll always be a class. One color, one class, one cause. That was our motto, right? Yeah. And so once you get out of the academy, you have to go into a field training program. So as part of the field training program, I wanted to go back to Southeast. Southeast was in the neighborhood that I grew up, right? And I was familiar with the neighborhood, and I knew the neighborhood, and I was always wanting to go back there to be a police officer. Yeah, to put and my goal, like I said, was to put the bad guy in jail because I didn't want them terrorizing our neighborhood. Right, I got you. I grew up, a lot of family members there, a lot of friends there.
Like not in my city.
You know, and my friends all knew. They knew the ones growing up. They were like, Sheryl don't play. So if you break the law, don't be asking her to get you out of jail because she's not gonna get you out of jail.
Oh yeah. Did you get a lot of that?
Like, I did.
Right, like a lot of people. Yeah.
But it, you know, after a year or two, people start going, don't call Sheryl when you're in trouble. Yeah. Sheryl gonna tell them to lock you up. So I'd gotten that reputation. Right.
I bet that's annoying though too. Like because people think, oh yeah, but we grew up together. This and that.
That's not
like I still got a job. Like,
I got a job. Yeah, who's gonna pay my bills?
Exactly.
You know, so. Anyway,
that's like when people ask me for free tickets to the fair because I work in the radio station. It's like, I know it's not the same thing, but still, it's annoying. Stop it. Okay. No, I cannot get you free parking. Like, leave me alone. Yeah. Okay. No, but go ahead. Sorry.
So I'm sorry. So I worked the streets for a year, and after that, I got a phone call from this division, Major Offenders Division, and they asked me if I wanted to come over and do some undercover work. And I was like, oh, that's right up my alley, Ricardo and Tubbs. I always wanted to work undercover. Right. So I did that on my own time for a year. So I would go and work with them for about 4 hours, and then I go work my regular shift on patrol, which turned into gang task force. So I went from transition from patrol and worked gang task force on the streets. It's like a regular patrol assignment, but your focus are on the gangs. Right. And so I did that on my own time. Once a month, I'd go work with them. And then at the end of a year, they had a long-term investigation that they wanted to do on some credit card fraud, right? Some deep undercover stuff,
okay. Right? So you were like, you sign me up. Yeah.
I'm your girl. Let's do that, right?
I'm scared to ask you my later question now, but go ahead. I'm still going to, but go ahead.
So I went in, we did this undercover investigation with a big credit card fraud, and okay, I know this is way before your time, but there was a store called Circuit City. Used to be like Best Buy.
I know about Circuit City. Okay, I was born in '91. Stop this.
Okay, all right. You're right because this investigation happened.
I bought my first MP3 player at Circuit City.
Circuit City. Okay, all right.
All right. Sheryl, don't do me on my show. Okay.
I didn't know you were that old.
I'm 30. I just turned 30. Well, I know I don't look a day. I stopped counting after 21, but I can't tell you my facial secrets because it's inappropriate. But anyway,
is that okay? All right. So, and you're right, you know, this investigation was like 95, 96. Okay. So, we had an opportunity to go undercover working in Circuit City, like we were employees in Circuit Cities and Circuit City, and these guys would come in and use their fake credit cards, and
no way.
You know, we're documenting stuff as they're working. I mean, as they're trying to get this merchandise.
You said you were fake employees. Okay.
We were not real employees, and the real employees hated us because we would come in and work twice a week and get all this commission. So they thought because all this merchandise was walking out of the door. Little did they know we were processing fraudulent credit cards, documenting information so we can go back and arrest these guys.
Of course she sold that 60-inch. Ooh, just
And so we did that for about 4 months, and after 4 months, we had a total of like 43 people that were involved in this, and it was more than credit card abuse. It was a lot of other things. So we made about 43 arrests after that, and I ended up getting me a permanent assignment in major offenders and worked in major offenders for about 11 years, and it was great. Then all of a sudden, my crooks that I was dealing with, they were getting a little younger. I was getting older. The lingo changed, and I stopped having fun. And I was like, you know what? It's time to move on.
I was gonna say, were they like now, I guess, kind of playing you in a sense, or?
Well, no. I just knew my limits.
Okay.
Hold on, they didn't play me.
Yeah, I got you.
I ain't get played.
My bad. I just thought, the younger times, because sometimes I have a hard time keeping up too. I'm like,
but I just noticed in my career I wasn't having a lot of fun anymore. My supervision had changed too. We went from going 100 miles an hour, doing all kinds of undercover deals, to just doing a few, and that supervisor didn't have the same values and concerns. Anyway, I wasn't having fun.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Yeah. So
no, you good.
I decided to take the sergeant's exam, and I did okay on the sergeant's exam. But before I went to promote to sergeant, I was like, why don't you try to go to homicide? There's an opening in homicide. Ooh. Yeah, so I applied for homicide. I came out number 1 on the list, and I was like, you know what? If I don't like it, I'll be promoting to sergeant soon, so I'll just promote out, right? But if I like it, at least I have that experience, and once I promote to sergeant and go back to the street, maybe I can come back one day, right?
You just got the whole thing planned. That's great.
I had a whole plan, right? So I started watching First 48. I was good.
Law and Order? How about Law and Order? No?
No, I had to watch some stuff that was kind of real. Yeah. No.
Because I love Law and Order SVU. That's like
because you ask a lot of police officers about those shows. Like, we go, no.
That's not how it really is.
Right. Yeah. Because people think we can solve crime in an hour and we can't. Right. So,
you wish, right?
You know, I wish.
Yeah.
Right. We'd have a lot of happy citizens.
Okay.
So I went on and went to homicide. It was not the first 48 hours. I worked a total of 13 scenes in about 5 months. But I, they threw me out there with this card and was like, okay, go be a homicide investigator. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute, where's the training?
Right.
I had to read basic homicide investigation books and other investigations in order to come up to speed, because they assumed that I had this experience in major offenders.
Right.
It would just transition right into homicide, and that's not the case. And that would be another show in and of itself, because investigating reactive cases are different than proactive cases. Because when I was working undercover, everything was recorded. So if I show you the recording, I got you, right?
Yeah, right.
Whereas in the homicide, you know, suspects are not going to want to admit that they committed a murder.
Somebody. Yeah,
right. So there are tactics and strategies that you need to use in order to get confessions and that kind of stuff. Anyway,
but like what?
So,
no, I want to know. Yeah, but you can't tell the secrets. Okay, yeah, no, because I don't know.
Come on,
I do have.
You didn't want to give me that. This.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to hold on to it. I'm gonna have to hold on to
You're right. You got me there. Okay, we're 1 for 1, but that's it. Now it's no holds games. Go ahead. Okay.
So they called me. They called my number to promote me to sergeant. I promoted to sergeant. Went back to the streets, and then had an opportunity to work in a unit called Investigative First Responders, where we were able to train police officers to conduct investigations from start to finish. So that was right up my alley as a sergeant. And then I was asked to go to child sexual abuse, and so and initially it was a little concerning for me, because I was like, man, we're dealing with children who've been sexually assaulted. But at the same time, I did want day shift, weekends off, and it was another opportunity to grow. And so I decided to take
weekends off. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I just got weekends off and I don't know how to act. Like, it's so great.
I was evening shift with Sunday, Monday, right? So I was like, okay, day shift, okay. It's something else for me to learn. And I'm so glad that I had that opportunity, because our investigators there, I think that they didn't get the credit that they so deserve, because investigating a child sexual abuse case is just as challenging as it is to investigate a homicide case.
And it's so crazy, like, talking about the child sex abuse, like how it could just be anybody, right? Like, I mean, like, is it weird that my favorite show is To Catch a Predator? And I know that's sick, right? Like, but no, I don't know what's more gratifying, like catching the predator or like watching the investigation, because my dream was to be the decoy. Like, I always wanted to be the decoy, but I don't know that I could pull it off. You know what I mean? They're like, no, fuck that. You know.
But hey, catching the predator was the most rewarding part.
But surely. Did you guys have to do stuff like that though, where you had to have a decoy? And
so what happened was, initially I was working reactive cases, and what those were, we had suspects in cases, right? It was either a family member or it was an acquaintance, right? Okay. But then I was moved to a squad that was called the Internet Crimes Against Children Squad. And the Internet Crimes Against Children Squad is when we did those types of
that's like the instant messaging.
Yes.
I bet that's
had
easier,
a great. I mean, I didn't do the work. I was a sergeant at the time, but I had a team of phenomenal people who made a lot of arrests doing that kind of thing. We had the Innocence Lost Task Force with young girls that were prostitutes. We did the FBI Cyber Crimes Task Force, and we also had the Internet Crimes Against Children with those that were, trying to hook up with young.
I wonder how you like condition your mind to be like the predator as a decoy. You know what I mean? Like typing all those like sick things, like it's like Well,
and they had to do it in order to make the cases.
Well, for sure. I mean, but like again, let me shut up, because my dream was always to be like thrown in there like as the 12-year-old boy. You know what I mean? Like, come on in. I made cookies.
I got everything. Yeah, mom's not home.
And then, like that show. Oh, I just love it so much. What's been your favorite thing to do in law enforcement so far? Because it sounds like you've jumped around quite a bit.
So I have, I love my background in law enforcement. I think that it's prepared. Everything that I've done has prepared me for where I am today. But I think my most favorite part of my career was working undercover those 11 years.
Yeah. And you can't. Probably the best. You're not allowed to tell those stories, huh? Like is that a thing?
I worked. I can tell you the type of cases that we worked.
Like give me like one of your favorite ones.
Trademark counterfeiting case. All of the cases where somebody said, I would never guessed you were a cop. Yeah, you would not have. Because I was a young guy. I got pictures. I was a young girl, and I didn't look like a police officer.
Okay, got
right?
you, yeah.
And I knew.
She said, honey, I was snatched, whatever.
You know, and it was great. We did insurance fraud. I sold guns, bought guns.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
sold stolen property, bought stolen property. Trademark counterfeiting deals. I mean, we did everything but narcotics. We did because that was a separate section for that.
Because sometimes when you're undercover, you have to make yourself kind of look a little rough, right? Like,
yeah, well, I never really made myself look. I don't know how I can make this look rough, but no,
you know what I'm talking.
I'm just kidding. But
well, you don't know the facial secrets, so yeah.
You could dress the part, wear a ball cap, and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Talk a certain way, yeah, and so that, and I think I got over so much because I came across as innocent. That was my MO. Okay. My MO was coming across as innocent and not knowing a lot about anything, right? And,
were you ever scared though? Like, was there ever like a sticky situation when you're like, I don't know, guys, this one's not going too well?
Anytime we did a gun deal, I was.
Oh, really?
I was always really nervous, but I had a great partner, and when we did those types of deals, our SWAT guys were with us. So we had snipers.
But since you were so nervous, how were you able to like mask that then?
So you really don't. You have to play on it.
Oh, really?
You just play on it. You know, hey guy, you never done nothing like this before. I'm scared, man. I don't know if you're gonna try to jack me. I mean, you just you have to play on it.
I got you. So, okay. Yeah. You know what? And then just because like I said, I'm obsessed with To Catch a Predator. Was there ever one of those cases that would stick out to you the most that like was just so far fetched that you could share here?
Yeah, I mean, because it was public, but as again, I was a sergeant in child sexual abuse, and Michael's. Everybody's familiar with Michael's.
Michael's the arts and craft. Okay.
We had a predator go into Michael's. A little girl was separated from her mom for just a few minutes, and he took her to the very next aisle, and he funded her right on camera. Yeah. No.
Oh wow. Yeah, did you ever just want to like pummel them?
Yeah. You want to punch the camera when you see the camera.
Yeah.
But, eventually, it led to his, that we put it out there. It led to his arrest.
Right, got you.
I mean,
I'm gonna Google that. Yeah.
It's I
mean, I don't want to see that, but I love reading those types of stories because it is gratifying when you do catch them. But you mentioned earlier how you always wanted to be like, I want to put the bad guys in jail and I want to be a rough tumbler. You know what I mean? Was there more times than not where you were in a situation like that where you kind of had to get physical?
Well, when I was in major offenders, we ran a lot of warrants because we go and do a lot of undercover deals where it didn't result in an arrest right away.
Right.
We'd have to build a case and make sure we take, have the probable cause to take before a judge to get a warrant, and then we'd have to go run those warrants. And we ran those warrants. That's when we had to be tactical in our decisions in going to make those arrests. So we did that quite a bit. Yeah. Fortunately, I've never been in a critical incident where I've had to shoot. I've had to pull my weapon a lot. Where I've had to shoot anybody, or been shot at. Now there were opportunities where I think we dropped the ball a couple of times, and we could have easily been involved in critical incidents. But thank God for covering.
Do you wear a lot of armor under? Like, is there body armor like now? Ooh. No, I should have told you you could have just wore whatever you wanted.
Like, I did. Okay, I don't have it. That's all me. No.
Hey, that's good though, right? You got the physique. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sheryl, I can't. Okay, girl, I'll be the first one on the floor, like getting beat up. Like, God, where's my backup? I called for backup. Damn it, you know what I mean?
No, you need to do what you need to do to survive. Kick, spit, bite, pinch, whatever you got to do.
You know what? We see all these stories, okay, like about like the cop shooting. Okay, I've never shot a gun. Okay, I'll just put it out there, but there has to be something going through your head when you're in that moment. Do you know what I mean? Like, where you, like, do you just blank? Do you know what I mean? Or like, I mean, because it's a high pressure situation in most cases, not in all cases. But, what was that like for you the first time you've ever had to do that? Do you think to yourself, I might take somebody's life today?
The first time that I had to pull out my weapon? Yeah. And I think at the time, I'm thinking about my safety and the safety of my partners or the safety of any citizens that may be around. So you're not necessarily thinking, oh my God, I might have to take this man's life. That's not the first thing that pops in my mind. Okay. It's like my life, my partner's life, or somebody else's, he's been reckless or whatever. But there are a lot of consequences that come with using guns, a lot of emotional, physical, mental consequences that come with taking a life or injuring somebody or even having to shoot at somebody. That whole situation playing over and over in your mind,
Right,
which is
yeah.
why officer wellness is so important.
I want to ask, because surely you've been in like lots of sticky situations and a lot of like high stress situations. I mean, like, I guess, selling guns, child abuse, this and that. What practices do you take to, I guess, stay mentally sane? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like I would be like a hot mess. Like, I just way.
I am just very, very fortunate to I've had partners and sisters that I could talk to. Now, I probably wouldn't talk to my sisters about everything
right.
that was at work, but I had girlfriends who were my partners and my best friends who were solid people that we could talk to each other about how we were feeling and what was going on, because we were experiencing the same things.
Yeah.
And because too many times, and we're doing much better than we had been, we create a culture in law enforcement where it's weak if you ask for help.
Oh,
okay. But that's changing. We're doing a much better job.
What does that mean?
Meaning, if you go ask for help, if you go say that you need to go to psychological services or go talk to a therapist about stuff that you've experienced or stuff that you've seen, it was always kind of taboo, right?
Oh, okay. Like, you're not cut out for this then.
Right.
Yeah. That's not fair.
Exactly. And I mean, I don't think leaders would do that. I think that we did it amongst ourselves. If you ask, because we're supposed to be strong and macho, and if you go and ask for help, that's a sign of weakness. And that's not the case.
Right, yeah.
Because we see way more than way more tragedy and catastrophe than any one human being should see.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
So
I'm sure.
we need to talk to people. We need to talk to them. If not, it will mess us up. We'll become alcoholics. We overeat. Or
yes. Yeah.
So I find other ways to cope. And so I had great girlfriends. I love to travel and love to get massages. When I find my time to relax and just to get away from it all, I do.
You do.
But I was having a lot of fun.
I got a really good massage place in Hewitt for you, okay?
No, yeah.
Massage Rejuvenation, I believe is what it's called. I forget her name, but just remind me to give you the address. Yeah, yes, I got you. Yeah, right behind Chopsticks on Hewitt Drive. I told her I was going to do a little thing for her because she did me a massage one time. I normally don't like women touching me, but she's got the hands of any man, and she is good. Wow. She gets in there. I'm going to give you her. Remind me. Okay, I will. Yes. But anyway, okay. So you know what? So what do you think? We talked about, like, it was nice that you got to like relate to somebody about, those high stress situations. So it kind of eases your mind and everything. Is there a misconception these days about police officers? Like, I don't like to get too political, but it's all over the news all the time and stuff like that. And I try to kind of stay Switzerland, you know what I mean? Because I have my cousin's husband is an NYPD officer, many years. And I fear for his life, but then I also fear for the life of like citizens, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. And do you think that like the media paints a bad picture of you guys?
So I think we get the short end of the stick. And I say this because police officers have millions. There are 18,000 police agencies across this country. Right? Mm-hmm. And we have millions of contacts every day that go right.
Right.
But just as in any industry, in any profession, there are the bad ones. Right. And then there are some that just make mistakes. Right. And in our world, unfortunately, it's just tough to make a mistake because that means that you injured somebody for the rest of their lives or have killed somebody, and we don't have room for those mistakes, right? But we're human, right? But those are the ones that are always brought to the front,
right? Yeah,
not those.
That's
great
what gets
things
the media coverage,
doing, right? Okay. Not those great things that we're doing out and about in the community. And one of my priorities when I came to Waco was to make sure that we increase the number of positive interactions we have with our community. Yeah, and we're gonna tell our story if nobody else is gonna tell. For sure,
yeah. And I always because like I said, I try to stay Team Switzerland when it comes to that kind of things. And I've seen some, I don't want to name any specific reports, but there's some where I'm like, I could understand, but then there's some who's like, okay, that guy, like, he should never been a cop. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? Right. I think it's fair to say that not all cops are maybe cut out for that job, correct? Do you think they've been more lenient as far as hiring police officers, or do you think that, like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I just think that we need to do a better job with our hiring process and maybe ask some of the tougher questions that we have not been asking. Right. I don't think that they reduce the standards in any kind of way, but people
some people will say what they need to say to become,
it's like any job. Yeah. Okay.
And
then you get to it and you're like,
and you're like, whoa, this is not for me kind of thing, which is why now, anytime that I run into anybody who says that they're interested in law enforcement, I say, hey, you need to go do a couple of ride-alongs. It's going to tell you one or two things. It's going to tell you, ooh, yeah, this job is for me. Or you going to go, okay, no, this is not
wait a second. Yeah.
Right,
I really just wanted some Cheetos and y'all over here playing.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to ride really fast with lights and sirens. I didn't know y'all were responding to somebody who was shooting at somebody kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
Because you guys do offer things like that, right?
Yeah.
Is there an age gap for that?
So 18 years. At 18 years old, you can come and do a ride along. Right now, we've had to cut down on it because of COVID. But when we open back up, man, I highly encourage, if you're interested in doing a ride along, to go fill out the paperwork and go do it. And our officers will show you a great time.
That's really cool. Yeah, I don't know that I would want to do that. I'd probably end up flirting with like the really hot officer. But then we get in trouble because there's cameras. So it's
your listeners may want to do it.
Yeah, listeners, what's up? Y'all do it. And then when you find one of the officers that's single, give him my number.
Oh my goodness. Please don't fraternize with my officers.
No, why not? I'm a good guy.
Can you do that when they're at lunch or something?
I
don't ride along.
Hey, did you? Anyway, never mind. I know that you're, of course, as the chief of police, like you really want to do your best to uphold the law. You know what I mean, and really be by the book. Are there certain like laws where you're just kind of like, well, that wasn't that bad. You know what I mean? Like, does that make sense?
Okay, so I'll tell you this. Yeah. So, I told you when I first became a police officer, all I wanted to do was put the bad guy in jail. Right. And I did that for a very long time.
Okay.
And then you figure out that that's really not working because you're seeing some of the same people. So okay, there are some underlying issues here. Something else has to be going on. Right. So that's when I kind of matured as a police officer, and as I grew and promoted throughout the department, and realized that prevention and intervention were just as important as apprehension. Right.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes you have to get, like, if you pull over somebody on traffic, right, and they had 2 traffic warrants from a expired registration and a failure to appear. If this person has a job or have on a uniform with a kid in the back of the car in the car seat, officers have to use discretion and go, okay, wait a minute. This guy just ran a stop sign. He didn't hurt anybody. He has his insurance, he has his driver's license, he has a job, and he has a kid in the back of the car that I'm going to have to call somebody to get. I'm going to have to take the CPS. Yeah. And then if I take him to jail, is he going to lose his job? I mean, we have to start putting more thought into things, right?
That's what I'm saying.
And so you can weigh stuff like that.
Okay.
Yes, we have that kind of discretion.
You probably got a lot going on. But get this taken care of.
Go take care of your ones. That,
Because I definitely got caught speed. I don't want to name the officer's name. He stopped me twice for speeding already. And, it's so great because he's a fan of the public affair. He told me that the second time. He goes, I actually watch your show. I was like, that's why you stopping me, right? But anyway, no, it's because I was going 41 and 30. But, because there's things like, yes, you're supposed to give me a ticket. Like, yes, I did wrong. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I always wonder, like, as police officers, surely you guys don't call in every single thing. You know what I mean? Where it's kind of like that situation you just said, like, okay, you probably got a lot going on. You might be a single dad. You know what I mean? Thank God you didn't hurt nobody, but calm it down next time and let you off on a warning. What warrants like a warning versus like I'm giving you a ticket?
So it depends on officer. I mean, it's officer discretion, right? And but what we have to keep in mind is what a concept that we call procedural justice.
Right.
What we do for one, we need to make sure that we'll do it for somebody else in the exact same situation.
I got you.
Right.
Yeah.
So officers have a lot of discretion. We have a lot. There are some things that we can't say no to. That you got to go to jail.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Right.
And then there are some other things that we have to use some common sense and discretion on and go, okay, if I did this, it's going to lead to this, it's going to lead to this. This man probably going to have a job. Right. Then he's probably going to commit more crimes, Okay,
so I got you.
You just have to be smart about it.
Because one example that I always think of, I won't put his name out there or business, but one of my really good friends, he talks about how he had to go to jail for a little bit because the stepdad of his daughters was hitting them. And so he went and beat him up. And so he got in trouble for that. But I always think do you have children?
I don't have children.
Oh, okay. Neither do I. Yeah, I don't have children either. Fuck that. But I think, okay, if it's my children, right? And somebody else is putting their hands on my children, I feel like I don't know what I would do per se, because I always say I don't know what I would do unless I'm put in that situation. Right. But my first thought is hey, I'm gonna go beat you up because why are you putting hands on my daughter? You know what I mean? How do you feel about something like that? You broke the law, or
in some things we don't have a choice, right?
Right.
So if I have a complaint and I have somebody who wants to file charges on you for putting their hands up, I don't have a choice.
You just have to. You can have your personal opinion all day.
Yeah, I can have my personal opinion all day.
You deserve your ass beat. But
I call the district attorney, or and I see that you break the law, and it's gonna further, the problem, then I got to take action, because I'd hate to leave you out here and then I come back and y'all got into a shooting.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's part of my responsibility.
Well, and then it probably goes back to you have a job to do. And you can't be lenient with one person because then they expect it all the time, or they're gonna be like, oh, Sheryl, she'll get you out. You know what I mean? Right. It's so cute. Like, this is just a funny question I've been dying to ask you, because I had a guest on here and we always like go back and forth or whatever, and I was like, you know what, I need a gigolo. And so I always wondered what the difference between prostitution and being a gigolo was. You know what I mean? Like, or is it the same thing? Like, have you ever had to arrest somebody for being a gigolo or a call or an escort? Do you know what I mean?
Being a gigolo.
Yeah. What? Remember Deuce Bigelow, male gigolo?
But a gigolo, but to me, a gigolo was just somebody who played around.
Yeah.
But you're not paying for sex. Prostitutes.
You're paying for sex.
Yes.
But for gigolos, you're paying for company. That's why it's not illegal? Or
no, I don't know. Maybe I don't.
You know
understand.
What I mean?
A pimp?
Okay, so I saw this show on HBO called Gigolos. I swear to God, Google it. It's a show called Gigolos, and what they do is there's a service, okay, and this is why I have questions, because it's illegal to be a prostitute, like to stand on the corner and solicit sex for money. That's illegal, correct?
Yes. Okay.
So there's a show on HBO called Gigolos. And what they do is there's this service that the girls call the guys and they go on dates and whatever, but most times they end up having sex. And I'm like, well, is that not illegal? Do you know what I mean? Is that not the same thing? Or
that's illegal to me.
Right? That's not illegal?
Yeah, that's from HBO. I don't know what they're doing. Okay. But that's you paying for.
Well, maybe because then I think they even covered it and said, well, no, they're not technically paying for sex. They're paying for a date. And if they have sex, that's on them. So that's kind of just like beating around the bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's TV.
That's why we can't watch everything on TV, correct? Okay. So then, anyway, I'll tell Daniel he can't be my gigolo anymore. So that he was never. Let me just clarify that. Okay, my record's clean, Dr. Victoria. Have there ever been any more challenges for you as the chief of police or as a police officer? Like, do you think as a woman you had to work just as hard? Like 10 times harder?
I do. I always thought that, though, as a woman, especially in a male-dominated industry, that we always had to be one step ahead. Hence the PhD, hence the master's degree. We always had to be one step ahead. And people always ask me where the challenges when you first became a police officer. I had a lot of great women pave the way before me. Right, experienced those challenges and only could wear skirts or only could deal with the juveniles or only could deal with women of domestic violence. So I didn't have those kind of issues. But one issue that I had when I first got on the police department as a female is really kind of funny because I don't think my partner thought I think he thought he was being a gentleman. I don't think he thought, oh, women don't belong in this profession. I think he just thought he was being a gentleman. And he used to tell me, we'd go on a call. After you get off the program, the training program out of the academy, you can't ride by yourself for 6 months, right? And until you get that year mark, then you can ride by yourself. So I had to ride with somebody. So I was on night shift, and we would go to calls, and it would be like a domestic call, right? Right. And before you get out of the call, he'll say, I got it. You can stay here. I got it. Oh. And, and a time or two, I stayed in the car, and then I was like, I'm not staying in the car. I'm a police officer, right?
I'm trying to go out there with action. Yeah,
so I get out, and as soon as I get in, he and this guy are just going at it, right? Yeah. But he noticed that every time the guy would look over at me, he said, I'm sorry, ma'am. Or he cursed. He cursed my partner out, but he said, I'm sorry, ma'am. And then they just kept going. I'm sorry, ma'am. And then I was like, light bulb, right. Okay. So I was like, I got it. And he backed off. Then I started dealing with the guy, and things started, de-escalating. Right. Because I don't know if he thought it was his mama or his sister, or, you know what I'm saying? Just had more respect for women. Totally. But it was from that point on that I told my partner, and I think that he realized too, like, okay, no, I don't need to stop telling her to stay in the car. There's some value to her being outside of the car. Sure. And I told him, I was like, hey, I'm trying to learn. I'm still a new officer. I need to get out of the car. I appreciate what you're trying to do, brother. Yeah. But I want to get out of the car.
I got you, yeah. Did you ever find that daunting, though? Like annoying, like, geez, you know what I mean?
Just it only happened a couple of times.
Okay, I got you.
And when it annoyed me, that's when I got out of the car. Right, and that's when I was able to kind of, now I won't say save him, but de-escalated the situation a little bit more quickly.
Do you think that still exists in 2021, where the women have to go just as hard as the guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
You do? Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you guys now you have organizations not that kind of quell that or whatever, but that kind of like negate that or?
At all costs, we do our best to. Right. But those that really have those opinions are really not forward with it now.
Okay.
Not in I guess our current environment, knowing that we're looking for that diversity and knowing what female police officers bring to this industry. We only make up less than 13% of this male-dominated industry.
Okay, right? I got you. Yeah.
So we're looking to increase those numbers, and we bring some pretty good stuff to the table as females, as far as de-escalation, communication, reduction in the use of force.
I think that's just like a natural. Yeah.
So it's not as obvious in smaller agencies. It may be. Right. But I haven't had that issue in Waco. I didn't have that issue.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. You know what? I understand, we're going to wrap up here just a few, and I'm really appreciated this conversation. I appreciate you being so candid too. I really do. I'm not gonna lie. I thought you were gonna have like stick up the ass and everything, but I was like, no, she's cool as hell. I like her. Because no, just Dr. Victorian, you are you're the chief of police. You know what I mean? You have this image to uphold. You know what I mean? Do you ever just go out and have some fun? You know what I mean? Like hot girl summer, just like, like let me put the badge down for a night and do me. You know what I mean?
I mean, I have those nights. I have girlfriends and sisters. It hadn't happened in a very long time, probably since before COVID. But yeah, I do.
Yeah, do you find that you have to like really watch your actions in public now? Because but does it take the fun out? Or?
No, not at all. Just like when I saw you in HEB.
You were very regular.
Right. I was just, if somebody recognized me, I'll stop and I talk to them, and that's it. But no, I don't. I'm still the same person that I was.
Right, I got you. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's really good. I have to say that it's been the biggest honor meeting you. I'm really so glad. I know we've been talking about this for quite a while, and I'm really happy that you finally got to come on, even though my car broke down or whatever. But we're good. Shout out again to Polly Box tonight. Yes. Am I leaving anything out? Like, is there anything that you like to do when you're not working, like your personal life and stuff like that? Like, are you just pretty plain Jane?
I am. Since I've been here, I've been ripping and running. So every time I get a free moment to myself, if I can sleep or just spend some time resting my brain, that's what I do.
People don't realize how important that is too. Yeah. Like I'm just now where I just have this in the radio station because I was doing this, the radio station, and a full-time job, and I was toast. I was burned out. Now I just want to stay in bed all day with nothing on and watch TV and play Nintendo. It's so great.
It can be pretty exhausting.
I don't have dogs, but
I have dogs. Those are my baby girls.
Okay, that's well, Dr. Victorian, it's been so great meeting you. I'm really happy that you came onto the public affair and you're just so candid. I really wish you the best of luck with everything that you want to achieve. If you need anything from the public affair, you can call us. Okay, we got clean records over here. I promise.
Thank you.
Yes, maybe not some of my guests, but I love all the guests. And they've been very open. That's why I love this show, Dr. Victorian, because I can have them and they can talk about like their past criminal life, and then I can have you. You know what I mean? And nobody. It's just great. I love the show. Anyway, well, thank you again, Dr. Victorian, for coming on to the public affair. Thank you everybody again for watching this episode. Before we go, I definitely want to give a shout out to a couple more of our sponsors of the public affair. Of course, the Soco Soccer Academy with Dominic Gutierrez and Ariana Gutierrez. They're located on Franklin Drive. They offer team, small group, and individual skill training. They also have open play on Friday nights, and they specialize in soccer training and fitness training with Dominic Gutierrez, Isaac, and London Carrillo. Because of Soco Soccer Academy, I've lost over 55 pounds. Go check out my old pictures, girl. Check out my old episodes. They're disgusting. Okay. Thank you so much to Soco Soccer Academy. And of course, the Fat Boy Michelada and Botana, my boy Junior Banda. He provides the best micheladas and botana plates for yourself or for a party. They're locally operated. Make sure you get the best and not the rest. They have a wide array of different items on their menu. I'm going to send you their menu because they're really good. You'll fall in love. You like shrimp and stuff like that?
I love shrimp.
Oh, girl, you're going to love Fat Boy Michelada and Botana. Okay. You're going to call him all the time. I promise. Yeah, they are so good. Thank you again to Fat Boy Michelada and Botana for sponsoring this episode of The Public Affair. Again, thank you guys again so much for watching this episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Again, big shout out to Dr. Sheryl, Victorian, Waco Chief of Police.
Thank you.
Okay, and just because she was on this show doesn't mean anybody's going off easy, all right? You break the law, you pay for it. And she might beat your ass. And don't forget, darling, to always keep it between us.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.
Are you a podcaster? Let's talk podcast hosting. Are you tired of your current podcast host? Need real support in a community that gets it? At Rogue Media Network, we offer top-tier podcast hosting services to help you thrive. From hosting and distribution to dedicated support, we've got you covered. Starting as low as $25 a month. Join our community of passionate podcasters today. Contact us at hello@roguemedianetwork.com.